What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be talking about two different true wireless stereo earbuds from Moondrop. We've got the Moondrop Moca coming in at $49.99 and the Moondrop Golden Ages coming in at $79.99. The Moca is using a dynamic driver, while the Golden Ages is actually using an annular planar driver, which is a larger version of the pseudo-planar driver featured in the Moondrop May. In this video, we'll be comparing the two in terms of sound and features, and answering the question of whether the Golden Ages is worth spending $30 more for, or if you can get away with buying the cheaper set. Before we get into the review, I want to give a quick disclaimer that my review units were sent out to me by Shenzhen Audio. As always, I'm not being paid to make this review, and my thoughts and opinions are my own. I won't be talking too much about accessories in this video, as given the nature of the product, they are pretty minimal. I actually received the Golden Ages some time ago, and I don't have the original packaging on hand anyway. I believe both come with a USB-A to USB-C cable, and silicone ear tips in small, medium, and large sizes. The Golden Ages comes with an extra set of medium ear tips. I will say that the Moondrop Moca has a pretty decent set of included ear tips. They are oval-shaped and made from soft, good quality silicone that doesn't irritate my ears. The quality of the ear tips that comes with the Moondrop Golden Ages is actually worse than the ones that come with the Moca. They're a little rougher feeling and not as soft. We will talk a little bit about the physical design of these two sets. In terms of form factor, they are very similar. The Golden Ages are a tiny bit slimmer and smaller, and have some retro headphone-inspired graphics printed on the housings. The Moca feels a tiny bit heavier, and I actually think it uses a slightly nicer looking plastic. It is very plain looking though, which may or may not appeal to you. Both of these headphones are well integrated with the Moondrop Link app. The version of the Moondrop Link app that's currently on the Google Play Store is a massive upgrade over the version that had been available previously for sideloading, and no longer requests invasive levels of permission from your Android device, which I am grateful for. For both of these sets, you've got control over the active noise cancellation settings, and the ability to remap touch controls at a very granular level. You've also got the choice of a variety of different EQ profiles within the app. You are limited to these presets as there's no PEQ here. I stuck with the default tuning for the Golden Ages and used the Solus bass profile for the Moca, although it was a little difficult to evaluate it for reasons we'll get into later in the review. Before we do that, I want to talk about the ANC performance of these two sets. I'm not an expert when it comes to ANC, but to my ears, the Moca actually has noticeably better ANC than the Golden Ages. And when I've loaned the Moca to other people, they've been very impressed with its ANC performance. The Golden Ages, on the other hand, never stood out in terms of its ANC capabilities during my use, and really struggled to muffle the sound of my mechanical keyboard as I typed up the notes for this particular review. You do get a transparency mode option for both sets, which I felt worked fine. As far as codecs, the Moondrop Moca supports AAC, SBC, and LC3, while the Moondrop Golden Ages supports AAC, SBC, LC3, and LDAC. Unfortunately, I had significant signal stability issues with both sets while trying to use LC3 with my Google Pixel 7. I experienced recurrent static and signal dropouts, which seemed to resolve when I turned LC3 off. This may be a problem specific to my phone, but if you experience similar issues with either, I recommend just disabling LC3. I did not have any issues using LDAC with the Golden Ages, though. The Moondrop Moca has an integrated photo sensor, which recognizes when you've removed the headphones from your ears, to automatically pause music playback. This works pretty well most of the time, but is a little aggressive in my opinion. I'd appreciate the ability to fine-tune this feature in-app so that the stems can accommodate a bit more movement without triggering this feature and automatically pausing my music. I didn't pay super close attention with battery life with either set, but it was more than adequate for my usage. For the time that these are likely going to be out of the charging case for a commute or a day on the town, I can't imagine anyone having any issues. Finally, the Moca's case is advertised as supporting wireless charging, although I didn't get a chance to test this. I also did not get a chance to test the Golden Ages low latency mode, as I don't really do mobile gaming. Okay, let's pull up the graphs and talk about the sound. I'll also drop a link to these measurements in the video description. Now, you should immediately notice that my Moondrop Moca has a pretty bad channel imbalance in the bass, and then again in the lower mid-range. It's a real shame because I actually feel like the Moca is the more enjoyable of the two IEMs to listen to. This is mostly because of the difference between these two in the bass region. On average, even with this fairly egregious channel imbalance, the Moca comes through with better sub-bass extension and more mid-bass presence that really helps with creating a sense of impact to percussion. I also don't hear a huge difference between these two in terms of bass articulation or resolution. The Golden Ages might have a tiny bit of an edge there, but in my opinion, losing a tiny bit of speed and detail is worth it for the Moca's more tactile and textured bass presentation. When it comes to the mid-range tuning, I again prefer the Moca. Vocals are a little bit less forward and better integrated with the rest of the instrumentation, while still being very intelligible, and male vocals have a lot more body. Female vocals also sound a bit more full and vibrant. The Golden Ages sounds much thinner. I don't feel like the mid-range detail for either of these sets is that great, which is more excusable in the Moca's case, given the price. I also think they both struggle a bit in terms of having natural-sounding timbre, more so than wired equivalents from Moondrop, like the Moondrop Lan and the Moondrop May. I think the treble for both of these sets is somewhere in the realm of fine. The Golden Ages has better detail retrieval, especially when LDAC is enabled, but treble transients sound kind of metallic, and I feel like the upper treble sounds disconnected from the rest of the frequency response. It's too prominent and can come across as harsh. The Moca, on the other hand, has very smoothed-over treble transients, but is more reserved and pleasant sounding. I can't tell a definitive difference between the two in terms of soundstage or instrument separation. Okay, let's wrap this up and go over my conclusions. Overall, I think that the Moondrop Moca is probably a better buy, assuming you don't get a lemon in terms of channel imbalance like I did. I much prefer the Moca's overall tonality, and I think that at this price point the drivers are going to be the limiting factor in terms of resolution, as opposed to missing out on having LDAC. If you've made it this far, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Until next time, this is Bedrock Reviews, signing off.